Grapes can be a fascinating addition if you're trying to build a diverse permaculture farm. But the problem most of us face is where to source the grape vines from. In this part of the world, there are not too many nurseries that sell them, and those that do are not reliable. Fortunately for me, in the 2020, I think it was, I got hold of two grape vines, and these two wines, believe it or not, they came all the way from Bolzano in Italy. And because I could not get hold of any more grape vines, and I wanted to build this huge canopy of grapes on the entrance to the farm, I decided to propagate my grapevines at home from these two grapevines I already had. So this is our entrance to the MeenaBagh farm, and this is the scaffolding that we built for the grapevines. Now the idea here is to have the grapevines clamber up on the scaffolding, meet at the top, creating a kind of a canopy so that we have grapes dangling down from this canopy as you walk up to the MeenaBagh farms. Now look at all these grapevines. They were all propagated from hardwood cuttings that we took from the two original grapevines that I had on the farm. So it was in the middle of March, 17th March to be precise, when I pruned these two grapevines that I had and took these hardwood cuttings from them and buried them in the potting mix, and this is the kind of success rate I have had. This is the end of July, 4 months down. I have had these grapevines sprout not only leaves but also roots. This is the time I come in and transplant them in pots such as these so that they have more room to thrive and grow. So before I do the transplantation, I am going to share with you the process of how we propagated all these grapevines from hardwood cuttings in March. So I just finished pruning my grapevines over here, and I have these lovely canes, and I'm going to use them to propagate some more grapevines. Now it's very simple. These are hardwood cuttings coming from these grapevines which were in the winter slumber. So that's why hardwood cuttings. So this particular cane, I've got no use of it except that I can propagate it to get some more grapes. Grapes are very difficult to buy in the market. So it's a good idea to propagate your own, and the propagation is very simple. You take this cane, you give it a slanting cut at the bottom. You give a slanting cut because the grapevine, it looks exactly the same top to bottom. So you need to know which side goes down into the potting mix. Slanting cut over here is also going to give you more surface area as far as the rooting zone is concerned. So a slanting cut at the bottom, keep two nodes to be buried in the potting mix, and then one is going to be above the potting mix from where the leaves are going to emerge. So it's as simple as that. You can take some more, two nodes, and then the third one, we snip it from here. If you look at this cane, it's very difficult to tell which side is down and which side is up. So almost the width is the same even right at the top as it is at the bottom. So it doesn't grow like the other fruit trees where the stem at the bottom is thicker than the stems at the top. So this one is very irregular. So that's why you need a slanting cut at the bottom. Otherwise it can confuse you. So I have these cuttings, the hardwood cuttings, and I'm going to dip them in a container of water to moisten it all up before I put them in this potting mix in this little tree over here. They're going to be kept over here until they start sprouting some roots and hopefully some leaves as well, and establish themselves as independent grapevine plants. So now we have the potting medium, we have the hardwood cuttings, and I also additionally have
the rooting hormone. You may or may not need the rooting hormone, but I'm not taking any chances at all. I am going to dip it into the hormone like so and bury the sticks like this, 2 nodes down into the potting mix like this here. And I think I'll also need another tray, so I have another tray over here with the potting mix ready, because as you can see I have a lot more cuttings this year. Again, I have this slanting cut for a reason over here. Like I said, if you look at the hardwood cuttings, and if you have already taken the cuttings, and if you do not give a slant cutting over here at one end, the end which goes down, you will not know which side is up. This side is up, that's why it has a straight cut. This side goes down, it has a slanting cut. And the other reason that we have a slanting cut is that there's going to be more surface area for the propagation of the roots. So I'm done with the bedding of these cuttings. I've got 2 trays full of the cuttings. One over here has the Kinori variety. This one has the Italian variety. I think I have almost about hundreds of these hardwood cuttings, and hopefully I will have a lot of grapevines to look forward to very soon. So I'm going to keep these hardwood cuttings indoors, and I am standing under the grapevine scaffolding that I built for this purpose. All these grapevines, when they become grapevines, they're going to be planted over here for this scaffolding. So I'm going to keep the cuttings over here indoors. They don't really need the sun. They need the warmth, of course, but they also need humidity. For the humidity, I'm going to cover it with some kind of a covering so that there is some kind of a humidity which remains inside the tray. So I have this top. Usually they have a humidity dome. I don't have that. I'm going to make do with this top, and this is the way it's going to go. I can see through the top. I can look at the moisture level. I'm just going to keep one end open for me to be able to water it. All the other sides are going to be tucked underneath the tray so that the humidity remains inside the tray. So there you are. I have tucked the top under the tray from 3 sides, and one side is open for the watering. Hardwood cuttings benefit from humidity. So that's why we have the top on top. This side is open for the watering. Now I am going to water the potting mix very thoroughly. And now just going to cover it. And maybe keep the can over here so that the top remains in place. So this was the grapevine propagation we initiated in March, and 4 months later, this is the result. Mind you, the leaves had started sprouting within 1 month of our initiating the propagation, but you need to transplant them only when the roots emerge. So how do we know that the roots have emerged in these grapevines? All that we need to do is
tug at the grapevines. If they come up very easily, it means that the roots have not emerged. But if it is difficult to take them out, it means simply that the roots have emerged. Now let's check for the roots. All of them are not coming easily in the hand, and I am hoping that all of them have the roots and they are a complete grapevine. So let's start with this one over here. Yes, very difficult to take out, which means that the roots have come and they have embedded themselves into the potting mix. So that's why it's difficult to take it out. It's taken a lot of effort, as you can see, to take one grapevine out, which is a good sign that the roots are healthy. There you go. And voila, look at the root system over here. And all of this came from this hardwood cutting we buried in the potting mix in March. These are all the roots. They emerged from this node downwards, and the roots have come out from almost the entire node section from this node till here, and very healthy roots. That's why it took a lot of time for us to take it out. Now, as you can see, this little hardwood cutting has now produced these roots, which means that this is now an independent grapevine to be transplanted out. We're going to transplant them out in pots such as these until it's time for us to plant them out next year in March. Not the best of soil, but we'll make do with this. There you go. So as you saw, it's very easy to propagate grapevines from hardwood cuttings. Take the hardwood cuttings, bury them in the potting mix. After a month, they will start sprouting the leaves. After 4 months, they will start sprouting the roots, a time when you need to start transplanting them in pots such as these to be finally planted out next year in spring. So this is not only very easy but also a very satisfying way of propagating anything in the farm, because the plants and trees that you propagate on your own are always going to be your favorite.